This is DG Vision Network.
Hello, you're welcome to another edition of DG Vision Network with Bayo Agabi, your one-stop for issues on ICT, business and innovation. I'm your host, Prince Lee Momodu.
This is DG Vision Network.
On today's edition, we'll be looking at the impact of technology on children and how to manage and guard the use of it. And in keeping up with that theme, we'll be asking Nigerians when is the right time for a child to own a smartphone. We'll also be looking at how NIPOST is tapping into e-commerce to stay relevant in our digital world and deliver customer satisfaction. And our guest of the week is seasoned entrepreneur and startup mentor, Adedayo Adefila. But first, let's check out news that made the round during the week. The Nigerian Communications Commission says blockchain technology can be a bedrock of economic innovation and growth in the country through effective implementation of policies. This was the position of the Commission at a two-day workshop organized by the NCC, which held recently in Abuja with the theme Distributed Ledger Technology Ecosystem, Decentralization and Adoption Method. The event brought together stakeholders from the public sector, academia, and tech enthusiasts who deliberated on the benefits derivable from emerging technologies like blockchain to advance the growth of the Nigerian economy. Speaking on behalf of Umar Dambata, the NCC Executive Vice Chairman, Haruhal Azan, the NCC's Director of New Media and Information Security, said existing National Digital Economy Framework supports blockchain. According to him, the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030 instituted by the federal government, as well as regulatory initiatives by the Commission, have been significant enablers of blockchain and emerging technologies in the country. The National Commissioner, Nigerian Data Protection Bureau, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, has urged the National Identity Management Commission to adequately safeguard Nigerian data. He also urged NIMC to set the pace in ensuring data privacy and protection as the leading data controller in the country. He said this during a walking visit to the corporate headquarters of NIMC. This was contained in a press statement issued by the spokesperson of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Hadizat Umar. According to the statement, the National Commissioner stated that the Commission, which is the highest data controller in the country, should be a model of other data controllers since data is the foundation of everything in the country's digital economy. He was also quoted saying, "There is nothing you would want to do in a digital economy without proper identity, and you can't achieve that without adequate privacy and protection of data." The Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, has said the state government will continue to support the development of the creative and technology industries in the state to create jobs and boost productivity. The governor said this in commemoration of the World Creative and Innovation Day marked by the United Nations. He said the state government intends to create the environment for youth to develop skills and create wealth at the Victor Owaifo Creative Hub, the Edo Innovation Hub, Edo Tech Hub, among other initiatives implemented by his administration. The governor said the state government has provided structures in the state to exploit the vast benefits of Nigerians' blossoming creative industry and the deployment of innovation in science and technology to transform lives and solve society problems. Elon Musk have agreed a deal to buy Twitter for about $44 billion. This was confirmed earlier this week after Twitter agreed to be taken over at $54 a share. Speaking on the motivation behind the deal, Musk revealed that he intends to transform the platform by taking it private. In a statement announcing the deal, he said free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy and Twitter is a digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. In a statement confirming the transaction, Twitter Independent Board Chair Brett Taylor said Twitter Board conducted a thoughtful and comprehensive process to assess Elon's proposal with a deliberate focus on value, certainty, and financing. On April 4th, Elon Musk announced he has purchased 9.1% of Twitter, making him one of the largest shareholders of the company. On April 14th, Elon Musk announced an offer to buy Twitter for $54.2 a share. This is DG Vision Network. One way to stay in tune with the world of ICT business and innovation is by visiting our website www.dgvisionnetwork.com and subscribing to our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/dgvisionnetwork. Now, decades ago, parents had managed to keep their children quietly occupied with sticks, papercraft, and their imagination. And then there came comic book, sophisticated toys, and television. Now we have smartphones, tablets, and the internet. The benefits of technology cannot be overemphasized, but are we overexposing our children to too much of it? And how can we manage this? Find out in this report. From smartphones and social media to TV and tablet-based toys, today's kids are constantly inundated by technology. If you hand a smartphone or tablet to a toddler, chances are they'll figure out how to open it and make some in-app purchase in a matter of time. The technological boom means children are becoming more computer expert at a very young age. While it's important for children and teens to develop an aptitude for technology, after all, they will use computers their whole lives. But with all this constant immersion in technology, are there some very real concerns about technology and its impact on children?
So obviously, as a child psychologist, we know that in this digital age that we're in, you cannot stop the children from accessing technology. Before COVID, everybody was still trying their best, to limit it and to say, oh, you can't have this, you can't have access to that. But when COVID came, it actually now showed us that no, this is their world, and not only their world, everybody's world now. And we have to start to embrace it in a positive way. So am I concerned? I wouldn't say I'm so concerned, because what I would just think is how can we make this work better for the children? In the terms of concern, yes, if there's no limits, if there's no boundaries, trust me, it's becoming a crazy world out there. And the analogy I usually just give parents is that, in our own world, in our own days, we didn't have access to any technology. So it's whatever they tell you, you just believe it, because we were raised with walls. So I always say walls, there's protection. It's either you get your information from the church, from the school, from your home. But now there are no more walls. So when we think about it, that the digital age and the internet, there are no limitations. Now there's more work for us as parents or as caregivers to be more deliberate.
With so much technology in our lives, it isn't easy to figure out when and how to let kids start using it. Do you go early and give them the devices from a young age? Or do you hold off and teach them about responsibility first? Which begs the question, at what age should a child get a smartphone?
The question is, why am I giving this child a phone? Right? There must be an answer to that. It's not because you just want to buy a phone. Okay, maybe your answer is, oh, I want my child to use it for assignments or homework and all that. The question is that the best way? Because as psychologists, we usually recommend, if it's for homework, whatever it is, have a laptop or a desktop, right? Something that you can put in a public place, that the children too are aware that anybody can pass. Yes, we know children can be sly. They can be watching something in front of you and you would not know. But in their subconscious, they're still more careful when it's a laptop, or, they know anybody can walk in or can see whatever they're doing. And I do not recommend, I wouldn't say this is the right time. But obviously, I would say the most realistic would be maybe when a child is going into secondary school. And that is relative as well, because your environment matters, right?
While not designed for children, social media has become very popular with young people. Before letting children fall in love with TikTok, fall into Facebook holes, or start their own Instagram accounts, parents need to weigh if social media is right for their children.
Want your child, because we always even encourage it. There's some children that they're quite restless. But you know that they have interest and gifts. So rather than just give them phone, just to be doing anyhow, going on, several websites that are not beneficial to them. If you know this boy, for example, likes soccer, so passionate about football, tell the child, take your phone, just be recording, all the scores that have happened, use it to, for a good cause, and not only good cause, it's just keeping them productively occupied. So rather than the child just watching somebody playing or one random person just talking, the child is using their own time to now start to think outside the box. And that's the beauty about technology. Without technology, I wouldn't be speaking to you like this. So yes, it has negative, but we have to take responsibility as people, and most especially as parents, because these children, they know nothing except the tech. They know it's only the digital world they know. So it's our responsibility to say, okay, if I'm going to give you access to this, and obviously you would know that even all the social media platforms, they have recommended ages. So the Facebook or Instagram that has put that your child has to be at least 13. You now have 9-year-olds and you now say, take phone, download Instagram. Like, I don't want to say I get upset, with parents, because I'm like, are you responsible at all? So at least let them wait till that age. If in your own right frame of mind, you think, oh, I can hand over a phone and you can go on social media, website, look at the age, recommended age, then maybe if it's your decision, but ensure that your child is well educated.
Children will continue to grow surrounded by screens and technology, so it's always important to establish good habits early on to offset the negative effects of technology on children. That was an enlightening report. How soon should children be given smartphones in today's technology-obsessed society? This is a question parents are being forced to answer as smartphones invade almost every aspect of our lives and tech companies compete for your attention. We asked Nigerians this question, and this is what they had to say.
I think like age 16 or 15. It depends on those children, you understand? It depends on the children. It depends on how you train them.
Like me, maybe I don't talk about rich person, but like me, all my children start using phone from 18.
Something like 20, 21.
You think children should have phone at the age of 20?
At 21, yes.
They are not going to hate children then.
They don't come be adult now. That time they don't come be adult. But something like 15, 10, it don't make sense to small people to use phone because this time around now, a lot of things they happen. Sometimes they go to send different things for their phone.
They should use phone, but it's just that when you are buying phone for your children, as in you should monitor them very well. Because this social media of 18 has caused a lot of things. Because children now, the way they behave now, like this social media of 18 make them go far. Like watching Instagram, watching all this WhatsApp, this one, that one, it makes them go beyond what the phones are supposed to do for them.
To me, I think from 18 years old, that's for smartphone, but at least when you have a grown-up kid, should at least give them the liberty to make use of phone. You communicate with them to do one-on-one daily basis, but not necessarily the smartphone. And even if you want to give them a smartphone, I think there's a parental guide control on some phones. There's a way you can lock some applications on their phone that they won't have access to. Some phone that will expose them to things beyond their age.
Welcome you to this new ride, a digital ride that takes you into the lifestyle experience of innovation, tech impact, and new business frontiers. This is DG Vision Network. On a weekly basis, we keep you well informed of developments and trends. Now the tech ecosystem is impacting politics, business, public and private enterprise management, plus how the new digital life can transform your business. I am Bayero Agabi. Join us.
If you have just joined us, this is DG Vision Network. Now, the e-commerce megatrend is a big opportunity for postal players around the world. How is Nigerian Postal Service prioritizing full digitalization and utilizing e-commerce to stay relevant in today's world? Modern development in the global postal industry shows that technology plays a pivotal role in postal services. It acts as an enabler and driver for better services for consumers. Digitalization disrupted the postal sector by causing a growing decline in the volume of physical mails and parcels. But with the repositioning of NIPOST and provision for e-commerce, it has embraced technology for efficient delivery across the country, leaving behind the past analog operations.
All over the world, activities are moving from physical delivery of items into, the use of technology to make our delivery of postal items seamless. For example, NIPOST, being a member of a UPU, a universal body that controls all postal items in the world, we quickly, develop the IPS system and IPMS system. The IPS is Integrated Postal Service, and the local version is IPMS. And what this does is to ensure that all items coming in, posted out, either coming into the country or posted in the country, are, loaded in the IPS, the incoming one, the international inbound, come through the IPS. And immediately they arrive at our border, the data will be moved to IPMS, which ensure that all items are trackable. So these are some of the things NIPOST has done to encourage the use of technology to deliver its items across the country.
The e-commerce megatrend will fuel a $9 trillion global opportunity by 2025, creating opportunities that no postal player should give up without a fight. After all, parcel logistics from pickup to delivery are steadily becoming the most enabler of the growth, given that an estimated 70 to 80% of all e-commerce purchases are delivered via networks rather than pickup in store. So how does the Nigerian Postal Service tap the full benefits of e-commerce in the country?
NIPOST has invested massively in this product. And as I'm talking to you, in Lagos alone, we have more than 150 motorbikes to deliver customers' items, and most especially the e-commerce items, because the rates of, just like you mentioned, the exponential growth in e-commerce items have to be matched with corresponding activities in the area of logistics to ensure that these items are delivered as at when due.
Over the past year, organizations have invested millions in technology, yet fewer than 1 in 10 train their staff to use these technologies, a move that derails maximum efficiency and one that the Nigerian Postal Service is apt to address.
Nigerian Postal Service has not failed in its responsibility to ensure training of staff. Aside that, we are constantly exposed to international training manuals in all areas of postal activities, both in the area of letters, in the area of delivery of cargo items, in the area of delivery of e-commerce items. We constantly do online trainings to ensure that staffs are brought up to speed about events and use of technology to ensure delivery of items nationally. Recently, we launched a product that is called Postage, which is a logistic activity, a logistic business. Just this afternoon, there was a training that we did with our partner from Egypt. So we are constantly training our staffs to ensure that Nigerian Postal Services improves on its delivery mandate.
Considering assurance by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Ali Pantami, of a fully digitalized NIPOST, Nigerians can look forward to seeing a postal service driven by technology and innovation to deliver quality service that is crucial to communities. Thanks for staying with us. Up next is our guest of the week. Adedayo Adefila, an entrepreneur and startup mentor who speaks to Mojisola Alabi on the impact of new technology on the Nigerian economy. Enjoy the conversation.
On the show today, we have a very important guest, a very special guest joining us, Mr. Dayo Adefila. Mr. Dayo Adefila, thank you for being part of the show today.
Thank you very much, Moji. It's a pleasure being here today.
You've been in the tech industry for quite a long time, I must say, and you've seen the changes that have come, you've seen the developments that have come over the years, you've seen how technology is actually evolving and how the Nigerian technology space is evolving with it. Emerging technologies of Nigerian business and banking, your thoughts?
Okay, that's so banking. Banking is kind of I won't say standalone, because banking is a very interesting, unique aspect of it. So what emerging technology really, what tends to come to mind, quickly thinking about banking will be things like use of artificial intelligence, right? From a data point of view, using it to really create a better understanding of what your users are doing and how do you use that to then improve your service to them, not to milk them more, or to improve the service to them, So when we say financial inclusion, there's still so much to be done in that aspect. And then financial inclusion also, we often forget insurance when we're talking about financial inclusion. We always focus more on access to loans, access to bank accounts. How about insurance, right? That is something that is actually meant to help people even better, especially in our environment, right? But not much is talked about there. Other aspects of emerging technologies and their impact, will be on business. So still a lot will be, data, AI, machine learning, right? If you look at supply chains of conglomerates, right? The global supply chain now, is kind of, upside down. People are still trying to fulfill certain orders from early last year just because of, how the pandemic affected. So there's a lot of opportunities in how some of those technologies are used, right? But I'd like to talk about some other industries like health, for instance, right? There are things happening now where, where people are using, drones, for instance, drone technology to deliver blood transfusions, from the cities to, rural areas, and solving problems that ordinarily people would just die for lack of that kind of stuff. People are using it to carry oxygen tanks to places. Look, I had a cousin, last year, who was in a hospital, and he was in a coma, so he was on oxygen, right? And sometime, towards midnight, the oxygen ran out, and there was no more oxygen in the whole hospital. So he didn't make it. Wow. He didn't make it. Something as simple as that. He didn't make it. That's guy's future gone like that. So what if it was possible to call somebody, because in places that are not hyper city environments, right? It's not easy to move like that. But what if you could call somewhere and they could arrange to deliver something by drone, right? Even if it's a smaller canister, at least it will carry him till morning, So, and then of course, drone application also goes beyond health. Think about agriculture. There's some guys in I think Sudan, some inventors in Sudan who are using drone technology to basically look at the impact of crop disease. And then they're also looking at areas where they can plant tree, crop seeds, right? Tree seeds for trees, right? So they also help to fight, desertification in that environment. So there's a lot of room. And then of course, should we not talk about solar technology? There are some innovations in solar technology that are working to reduce significantly the cost as we know it today. They're trying to introduce, certain ways of trapping that light in a way that is more efficient. And once it's more efficient, usually it drops the price. We should be able to easily have solar, in the average barbing salon, hair salon, mobile solar units should exist, that are easy to use. I know some companies, have some of this, I think, Lumos, a few people have, but it should be more widespread, because the price has to come. Nigeria has scale, hundreds of millions of people, right?
Indeed, we do. So what about your thoughts on emerging technologies and politics?
Yeah, it's so first of all, think about it from communication. So from a data point of view, again, you're back to AI,
politics, e-governance, yeah.
Yes, and then of course, how do these politicians, if I get you right, please correct me, for instance, how do you interact with, with the people that, put you into office, right? Those days, what people tend to do is send SMS blast, maybe once they get your phone number, or they just send a blast, across. But now you can use, like you rightly mentioned, chatbots, so you have WhatsApp for business. Can you reach out to people and then invite them into your world and then begin to have a dialogue, right? So if you are a legislator somewhere, senator here, get your constituency. You should be able to mobilize your constituency, and actually reach out to people there. Pass out flyers that say this is what your business account WhatsApp is, and let people come in. Let there be stuff that answers to certain basic questions, that people in your constituency want to know, and then give them room to be able to interact with you through the chatbots. If the questions are a little too complex, let there be some agents. These kind of things enhance and facilitate dialogue. Democracy, as small as it sounds, because sometimes people feel really excluded from the process, except when it's time for elections, right? I mean, that's as simple, as transformative as that emerging technology can be.
This is DigiVision Network.
That was an interesting conversation with Adedayo Adefila, speaking on the impact of new technology on our economy. And that's the size of this edition of DigiVision Network. Don't forget to visit our website, www.digivisionnetwork.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on the social media handles displayed on your screen. I am Prince Lee Momodu, and on behalf of our regular anchor, Bayero Agabi, it's bye for now.